And a very good morning. Welcome to BC TV. It is Good Morning Uganda. My name is Jagen Nasema Kola Ziksoka on our Good Morning Uganda extra segment. The last segment of our Good Morning Uganda. It's another lovely day. It is Monday, 11th July 2022. And a new week, of course. Thank you so much for choosing to be a part of us and, of course, for joining us. Now, straight on, we'll get into our conversation this morning. And, of course, with me in studios are two very important guests for me, two nice, lovely ladies. One of them is Nabira Namboze, the Chief Operations Officer from Finding XY. You're welcome, Nabira.
Thank you very much.
Happy to have you in studios this morning. Together with Nabira is Priva Mukasa. Priva Mukasa is the Communications Officer of Finding XY.
Yes.
Let's start with you, Priva. Finding XY, what is it?
So Finding XY is an innovation center. We support entrepreneurs and ecosystem builders to address climate change and create a social impact. We do this through business capacity building and also low-risk capital access.
How long have you been here?
Finding XY?
Yep.
5, we're going into 6 years now.
Is it an NGO? Is it a company? What is it?
It's a company limited by guarantee. Right?
Okay, you want to say something about Finding XY?
Yeah, just to add on what she has said.
Okay.
Finding XY creates value by innovating and implementing projects. We have a number of projects we run, but these projects are addressing climate change and removing barriers that SMEs are facing on their journeys of growth. Yeah.
Removing barriers, what does that mean?
Yeah, so many enterprises do not grow as they would expect to do because they do not have access to finance, they do not have the required capacity to grow, and they don't even have the partnerships they need to grow and thrive as they would have. So Finding XY comes to bridge those barriers, close the gaps, and provide them with access to low-risk capital, like she mentioned.
What's a recent or latest project that you're working on? Because you do quite a number of projects that you work with. What is now the project that you're currently working on?
We currently have the Women in Agriculture Impact Investment Facility that was designed by Finding XY to close the skills gap and accelerate investment to agri-SMEs in the entire agricultural value chain. So we do this through use of a blend of instruments and a gender lens approach. So this facility has been made possible by the generous support of the American people under the USAID Feed the Future Inclusive Agricultural Activity Markets. Yeah.
What is gender lens approach now? Because you talk about women and you talk about gender lens approach. What is it?
So when you talk about gender lens, we are trying to find solutions to the specific challenges that women are facing. And we do this by looking at challenges of women beyond leadership. We want to address the challenges that women are facing from production to supply. This specific facility has been designed for women in the agriculture sector specifically. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Let me come to you, Priva. We talk about women in agriculture, and I think that's it. What prompted you to get into women in agriculture, and why have you decided to pick up a project now to emphasize and to consider women in agriculture?
Well, I think, but being a Ugandan, you would know that women face different challenges in different businesses, and especially women entrepreneurs in agriculture. Research shows that women entrepreneurs, first of all, are conceived to be very risky. Investors don't think that they'll be able to pay back loans. And then on top of that, they have challenges like access to capital and also owning land, which is a very big issue for you if you're going to carry out an agricultural business. So we thought of why we can't sit back, first of all, and knowing these challenges, because as we mentioned before, we are an innovation center, but also we do research as Finding XY. So we thought of a way that will address this challenge of women in agriculture, women who, if you look at also the women entrepreneurs, sometimes they don't live to see their 3rd birthday. They start a business at early stage, and they don't live to see the growth stage. So we thought of how do we support women who are already running their businesses. They're at a point where they lack capital to accelerate. They have challenges because of collateral. We also know when you go to the bank here to get a loan, the biggest ask of financial institutions is collateral. So how do we work with them to access finance and work with investors, first of all impact investors and also financial institutions to see that we address challenges in agriculture.
Very important. Now, for every financial institution, for everybody who gives a loan facility of sorts, is collateral is your own insurance, it's your own security, but that's what I think. And I want you to help us understand that when with this particular facility that we're talking about, how do you help them access the funding possibly without collateral, and is it even viable in this country to actually give agricultural loans? Maybe Nabila can help us understand this, answer this.
Okay, just to be clear,
Yes.
we are not defying the collateral at all. Maybe we need to talk about how the facility works.
Talk about the facility itself, I think maybe I understand it.
Yeah. So the facility offers non-financial and financial support.
Okay.
So the non-financial support we offer is basically through business advisory to make these businesses investor ready. So what we do here is to refine the business and financial strategies of these businesses. Like she mentioned, these businesses do not know what to do to move from one level to the next. Yeah. So what we are trying to do here is to refine their pricing strategies, their production strategies, marketing strategies, make for them a proper fundraising strategy to see to it that they are properly introduced to a funder who is willing to give them financing. Beyond successful deal closure, we still move on with the enterprise through what we call the post-investment accelerator support to ensure that one, the financing they have refused has been put to good use, and two, they're able to unlock further financing beyond the financing we've helped them get. So that's the business advisory offer. That business advisory is typically through two essential business functions. That's business strategy and business finance. We usually do this by using globally proven tools that we think would suit this purpose. Like she mentioned, the agribusiness is very risky, and very many investors shy away from giving these agri-SMEs money. Being women, it's even worse, because like she mentioned, it's hard to predict what happens between one agricultural season and the other. This season may be good, it may flourish, the harvest may be great, and then the next season, things go the opposite direction. However, still agriculture is the backbone of the economy, it's the backbone of the country, and we do not have to sit behind and wait for what's going to happen next. So more than ever, it's important that someone comes out and helps these businesses redefine and re-examine their strategies to ensure that one, they continue operating, and two, that they thrive. So that's the non-financial support we offer. Then the financial support we offer is basically through two approaches. We do not own land at this point. We partner with financial institutions and impact investors. They could be banks or other impact investors. So we have two approaches there. We employ either what we call the bridge financing cover, where the facility covers between 3 to 8 months of interest that accrues to a loan to an agri-SME. We did this through learnings that were conducted by FTF early last year after COVID. Realized that the markets were disrupted. The cash flows were in a maze, people did not know what to do, and it's important that someone comes out and tries to give these people platform to recover. So we thought that if we cover these enterprises between 3 to 8 or 12 months, they can then pick up on the payments later on. That's the first approach. So you note that for a company or an SME to get the financing, they would still have to go through the normal due diligence procedure. The uniqueness here is we are actually going to make the process more seamless by making them ready for the due diligence. The chances of success are higher if they go through the business advisory. So that's the bridge financing cover. And then we also employ the loan discounting approach, where the facility pays 10% of the loan principal upfront to the investor. Say if someone has gotten a loan of 100,000 from a bank, the facility will pay 10,000 of that loan to the bank. What this typically means is the investor will have reduced the risk of default by 10%, and the cost of capital to the SME will also have reduced by 10%. So it's a win-win situation to both. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, is this the first time that you're getting into this, or you've done it before, and this could be another phase of women agriculture investment or whatever it is? Is it the first time that you're doing it?
No, Finding XY has run a number of projects.
Yes, but I'm talking about agriculture specifically.
We ran a project last year. We piloted a project that was called Senteach Kazi. It was dealing with gender lens financing. It's just that for it was a little bit more open to sectors. We had clean energy, we had education, we had IT, we had agriculture, but the Women in Agriculture Impact Investment Facility is specific.
For women?
For women.
How did you perform in Senteach Kazi?
Senteach Kazi was great.
Okay.
We believe it was a good learning ground for us, because usually you design a project and then test it in the market and see how it's going to work. How do women respond to it? Because we know that so many women shy away from getting finances by virtually knowing that they do not qualify. Even if someone qualifies by 60%, they would rather pull out and be like, no, I'm not going to apply because I do not qualify. Unlike the men, because if a man qualifies by even 16%, they would want to push and go and see what happens. That doesn't happen with the women. So we went, had proper learnings, learned how these women work, what their expectations are, what their interests when it comes to financial instruments are, what their experiences have been, for example, with banks and other institutional investors, and we are building on that experience to push this project forward.
Okay. Priva, what is your expectation out of this, and so far, what's the response like from the women who you are actually targeting for this particular one?
We started our call for application early April this year, and we've seen a number of applications come through. Now we have a criteria for this call. We are asking women who, first of all, have been in business for about 2 years. Why we are saying 2 years, as Nabira mentioned, that agriculture is risky, first of all. You can't predict the climate change. And so we talk about 2 years because we are assuming by 2 years, you've at least gone through 3 to 4 seasons of agriculture, and you've mastered your business. And also we are looking at women, an enterprise that has a woman either leader across the value chain. And by that we mean could be at the supply or production. And there's a representation of women there. And we're also looking at an enterprise that is looking to absorb 50,000, at least and more. Minimum 50,000, because at least by 2 years you've learned your business and you know that you can absorb that. So yes, we've had a number of women that have applied, but the application is still running through until the end of the year. And so we work with them. The way we are working with the women, the business support that we are giving them is tailored, made to their business. So as they come in, we do a needs assessment, get to know who they are, what their challenges are, then we address their business tailored to their challenges. And then we still get more applications.
Is it for the whole country, or you're targeting particular regions of the country?
We are targeting particular regions of the country. We are targeting Karamoja region, north, west, and eastern region.
What has been the response so far from those that you're targeting?
It's interesting. Last week, I think we received 2 applications from Karamoja region.
2?
Yes, from Karamoja region. Most of the regions that I see interest in are the eastern and western, but also that, as I mentioned, we started our call for application in May. So I'm hoping by December we can get a bigger traction than it is.
And the other question is, how long is the facility here? How long is it taking?
So this facility is 24 months.
24 months to 2 years?
Yes, 24 months.
So it goes until May 2020.
2024, but yes.
Yeah,
but
just to add on what Priva said, that's for the current cycle, but it's a program, it's not a project, so we are building a community beyond the 24 months. The current cycle is going to be supported for 24 months, after which we'll continue with the program thereon. Yeah.
She just talked about something, talk about the women, whether at the production stage or from whatever that is. You know, agriculture has got its own production cycle, it has got its own cycle. let's first of all understand, when we talk about women in agriculture, who are we talking about? Are we talking about my mother who gets a hoe to go to the garden? Are we talking about my mother who vends vegetables in Nakasero market? Are we talking about, let's understand who the women in I was actually going to say women in aviation, because women in agriculture, not in aviation. Women in agriculture, who are we targeting and who are these? What is this agriculture that we're talking about?
Okay. So, like she mentioned, we are looking at women across the value chain.
Okay.
We are calling upon a woman from the one that holds a hoe
To go to the garden?
Yes, up to the one that's actually maybe adding value to the product, to the one who is actually selling. However, like she mentioned, we would want these women to be organized, so we are not really targeting individuals. At this point, we would want a company limited by guarantee or limited by shares. So if your mother in the village has a company registered to carry on the activity she is, she's open to come and apply with us. Yeah.
CBOs, NGOs, what do they call them, all those others, because when you talk about a company limited or whatever that is I'm trying to look at how you're going to disenfranchise the women that you would be targeting. Now, which type of women are these that you're targeting that can actually even know and go a step notch to register a company? I'm only thinking, do we have these women in Karamoja that have actually registered the company and they're getting into agriculture that they will know? Because once you talk about opening a company, then you talk about bookkeeping, you talk about this order that eludes many Ugandans.
And maybe just to answer that, when we talk about women in agriculture, we are not looking at women at leadership. When Nabira talked about the gender lens approach, not at leadership level. It could be that that woman has a 50% or 30% share in the company. Because are they involved in the supply chain also? How many women are involved in your supply chain as a producer or as a woman entrepreneur who runs this business? So we also, remember I mentioned one of the criteria is that they should be at least in business for 2 years. So at this point we are assuming you have registered your company. You have a business model, you have financial models that you've used over time. Yes.
Well,
Yeah, I would like to add
something.
Yeah. So one thing for sure is this is an accelerator program, and we know each of us has a piece to the solution to create overall adaptation change. What the Y facility is doing is to be part of the process to help these companies or these women actually adapt to the new normal. Like she mentioned, we are not really looking at startup companies, because for an enterprise to be able to absorb 50,000 USD, your turnover has to be over 100,000.
Okay, so the facility is
USD.
$50,000.
You have to absorb investment worth
$50,000.
Someone must be willing to give you that much. And for that to be possible, we estimate that at least you must be making 100,000 USD in turnover, and then we can build on from there. Yeah.
Do we have those in this country?
Yeah,
I'm thinking, I don't know. You know, when you talk about agriculture, the people that I'm thinking
You'd
about.
actually be surprised when you look at the expression of interests that we are getting in. We do actually have a number of... See, the thing is, when we mention why specifically women, women businesses are silent. Even for the investors or bankers, they don't think that women can actually get to this point where they can run a business and be able to absorb that much money. But it's interesting that you look at the expressions of interest that we've received, that we actually have these businesses in Uganda. We just haven't reached out to support these women to accelerate their businesses.
It's actually, well, it's something that I've also not thought about because I'm thinking $50,000 is actually too much money. And you know, when you talk about investment in agriculture, majority of the people who get into agriculture, we keep talking about the numbers and the majorities in agriculture, but we talk about people who have a plot of land that starts where this building starts and stops here. And these are the people that we're talking about. We do not have many actually who have these farms of square miles and acres and hectares of land. And I think those are the people that you're talking about.
Not necessarily. Here what we're trying to do, you see, so many times people say when you empower a woman, you empower a community. If we get, say, like she mentioned, 10 companies in Karamoja sub-country, they are going to impact so many women that have smaller say capital, smaller pieces of land. They would support them further. These companies are going to help us reach where we are not able to. So at this point, we may not necessarily say we are going to support smaller groups. At this point, let's first support these bigger ones. They could be farmer groups. Let's support the farmer groups such that the farmer groups support the other women at the grassroots. And also, so to add, we are not necessarily saying women should be at leadership level, like she mentioned. Probably the company is entirely owned by a man. But in the value chain down there where this company is getting the inputs from, the produce from, the farmers are women. Let's use this man to go and impact the woman down there. If we impact the woman, we are empowering the nation. Yeah.
And maybe just to add, these smaller businesses could be part of an association that takes produce to a certain farm or processor. So you're empowering them even through the value chain, as we say. Smaller, 10, 100 of them coming to one producer or processor. Yeah.
So in agribusiness, you talk about anything that is agro-related or agriculture-related.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Well, we just take a break very shortly and return and continue the conversation. With me in studios are two ladies here with money to help the women in agriculture. Priva and Nabila from Finding XY. And I stop at that, Finding XY. Well, that's why I will take a break and return shortly. Don't go away.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Hey guys, please let's have a brief meeting. See that? Calls, data, SMS, shareable among 5 people.
What?
And it includes free Airtel TV. Do you guys know what that means?
Means no worry.
Enjoy life worry-free with Airtel Smart Plans, shareable among 5 people. Use every day and pay at the end of the month.
They've also added Showmax.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest party of 2022 is here. UBC West MP Kahona launches its Mbarora station on Goat Road in Mbarora City with your favorite entertainer, HT Mbulecha UBC West on 23rd July 2022 at Mbarora University Inn. People of Ankole, Chisoro, Chigezi, Toro, Bunyoro, Rwenzori and all parts of Uganda. Do not miss your cocktail of fun with UBC West presenters, listeners and supporters. Come be part of the 2022 biggest party in the land with top artists, comedians, cultural dancers and ODs, women cyclists in the cycling competition, sports activities and many more from Western and Central Uganda at only 10,000 shillings. Don't miss the annual crowd puller of UBC West MP Kahona, and that is Etitimburere Igunga. Proudly powered by Pepsi Cola, Delight Solar, and UBC.
For sponsorship and partnership, call 0700-236-415 or 0782-265-827. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Are you a player in the tourism sector with a struggling business following the COVID pandemic? UDB, in partnership with European Union, is providing financial assistance to businesses operating in the tourism sector. You can access subsidized loan with grants, loan with a tenor of up to 5 years, free business advisory services, and free environmental impact assessment. Visit www.udbl.co.ug/call for applications to apply. Deadline for submission is 31st October 2022 at 5 p.m. For more information, please call 0414 355 509.
Hey guys, please let's have a brief meeting. See that? Calls, data, SMS, shareable among 5 people.
What?
And it includes free Airtel TV. Do you guys know what that means?
Means no worry.
Enjoy life worry-free with Airtel Smart Plans, shareable among 5 people. Use every day and pay at the end of the month.
They've also added Showmax. Oh.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Well, thank you so much and welcome back from the break. My name is Jagenda Semakola Ziksoka, and of course discussing and talk about women in agriculture. With me in studios is Priva Mokasa, the communications officer from Finding XY, and Nabila Namboze, the COO from the same organization, from the same company, Finding XY. And just let you know, today is World Population Day. UBC TV is live in Kumi district, and of course the national celebrations will be at Kumi Boma grounds. And of course a few minutes from now the team that is in Kumi will be coming live with what is happening from there on this World Population Day. Michael Jordan Lukomwa will be reporting live from Kumi and the team down there. Well, away from that vibe, we come back to studios and continue with our conversation here of what we talk about now. Finding XY is not government, it's not the PDM, it's not a Myoga, it's not Ntandikwa, it's not UEP, it's not YLP, it's not X, Y, and Z, as somebody just talked about it here. How do people understand these things? And you know, the perception or mindset is government has always come with initiatives to help the women, We have the Women Entrepreneur Fund. Somebody just says he doesn't know whether there is anybody in his village who has actually ever received that. They don't know. And there is that. Now, some woman out there would be maybe listening in and saying, okay, how do I benefit? How do I become part of that? I am not a company, I am not an association, I am only this. And you know, once you talk about there is money to help somebody out there, the next question is to also be a part of that. How do you make it adaptive for everybody to understand what you're talking about, Nabila?
Okay, so first of all, it's important for each of the players to do their part.
Okay.
While a lot of money is there, surely there is a lot of money to help these women, but we also expect them to do what they're supposed to do. For example, if you hear that right now Finding XY has this facility that's ongoing and it's targeting A, B, C, D, you need to position yourself in a way that Finding XY is able to help you. Because a lot of sensitization has happened, telling people what to do. Government has done its part, other ecosystem players have done their part. It's now time, like I mentioned before, for these SMEs or the business owners to also re-examine their models. If initially you've been alone, it's been a sole proprietorship and it hasn't been working, now is the time for you to readapt, suit to what's currently happening. Let's re-strategize. If the other one wasn't working, go and register. Go and join a farmers group, for example. Go and refine your pricing strategy. Let's move into a new market. So if we do that, we are able to then move together. Like I mentioned before, all this is part of the adaptation process to ensure that one, this small business, this small mother stays in business, they still are here and they thrive, because sometimes staying in operation is not enough. We need to see these businesses actually thrive and prosper. Yeah.
President Museveni has always contended with the Echida Chonka. Echida Chonka means only the stomach. And many of the people that we have, especially in agriculture, people of Echida Chonka. And you know, once you talk about agriculture, all these are involved. Mokasa, what do you tell those now?
Echida Chonka meaning that just for the stomach?
Just for the stomach.
For thing about women, we know.
Yeah, the women who are Echida Chonka.
See, that's why we talked about helping women to accelerate from, you know, early stage to, you know, to growth stage. Not even just growing food for yourself or your family, even though most businesses, especially women businesses, when they start out, women start out their businesses to cater to their family, their children. But when we did the pilot for Sente ya Chikazi, we wanted to help women know that you can grow a business away from just getting an income that feeds your family to having a sustainable, because Finding XY does believe in the SDGs. So we're like, how do you build a business that is sustainable, that will go beyond feeding your family to impacting someone else? We also believe in social impact. No? So what I would say, what I would encourage a woman entrepreneur is let's move away, especially us women. We've been known to do things at a smaller scale and not allow ourselves to grow. That I would encourage them that let's move away from thinking about us, benefiting smaller communities. As Nabira mentioned, when you impact a woman, you impact the entire community. Let's think of how we grow our businesses to impact bigger communities than where we are confined.
At the end of the project, at the end of the program, did you call it a project or program?
It's a program.
A program. What would you want to see, and of course, because you can now tell from the previous programs that you've had or managed to do, etc., where do you think this will be? And looking at the trajectory of things, and I just want you to paint us a picture of what you think it actually will be like if you manage to sail through well.
Well, we are looking at this in two perspectives. We are looking at it on the investor side and on the agri-SME side. So for the investor, we would really want them to become more inclusive of the women. Let's design more programs that suit the women and their challenges. Let's have instruments that address their specific challenges. Let's co-create more. I know there are so many of these programs that are there, but we need to co-create more and let this information be readily available. Because I know so many women do not have the basic knowledge of what equity investment is. And yet there are so many equity investors who are willing to actually give them money. So let's co-create more and then see what is going to happen next. Then two, for the agri-SMEs, we would typically want redefined strategies. We know for sure the people in the agriculture sector are very conservative for one reason or the other. We would want for them to move from what they have been doing to something much better. Let's redefine the business strategy. Let's redefine the financing strategy. If debt financing has been difficult before, let's experiment, let's explore on other options and see how that works out. And then let's incorporate this across the value chain. We want to see impact moving down from the supply side to down the production. Let's see how the farmer is benefiting from money that, say, a processor is getting from the bank. Because we know if someone gets money from the bank to expand their business, they're going to employ more people. They're going to need more inputs. The inputs I'm talking about may be in forms of supplies. They may be in forms of the bulk purchases they're getting from farms, and they may be in form of so many other things. So success to us looks that way. We want to see the financial institutions or impact investors designing better instruments to suit the women, and would also want the women to position themselves to accept this. Yeah.
Maybe just to add to that, because we talked about social impact also, as Nabira mentioned, we are looking at if for the enterprise at the end, if they've gone through this particular cycle, at the end of the cycle, they've created jobs for other women in the supply chain. But also, for one of the discussions we had recently was, can we work with investors, impact investors, to know, or financiers, that if I cannot take on a certain business because they don't meet my criteria, can I recommend them to someone else who can? A collaboration amongst impact investors and also financial institutions. That if you don't meet my criteria, I'll introduce you to someone else that does, so that we accelerate this further.
And that's another very good one. From the criteria set that you know very well, what are the likely chances that actually they will be able to meet this criteria? From the criteria that you have, or the finances that have said, what are the likely chances that people who write these letters of interest will actually be able to meet the criteria? Isn't it a cumbersome issue? Isn't it so cumbersome, very clogged with lots of stuff in there? Because, you know, we talk about something that I do not know of its viability in as far as investment is concerned, because we talk about agriculture. And like you said, you could have 2 seasons, rather 2 years, and you've seen about 4 seasons, which could be actually good, but you can't predict the next season. So look at that viability also, that if somebody is going to invest all this money in agriculture, and the risks in there, because you may think that we'll have rains in the next 2, 3, 4 months, and meteorology will tell you there will be no rains until December. The viability of it.
So one of the things we do at the very beginning when we get expressions of interest, once we get the paperwork of the companies, enterprises, female entrepreneurs, enterprises, we do due diligence. We go out, get to know the company, find out really are they going to be able to match the criteria that we're looking at, even if they don't at this point, because we are building a community of women in agriculture. How best can we support them to the point that they get there? Now, Nabira mentioned 2 ways that we are hoping to de-risk. Yes, she mentioned the bridge cover and the loan discount.
Of the 10% win-win situation.
Yes, yes. So we are hoping, and Nabira, you can come in here, we are hoping that that is going to also reduce the pressure on the investors' side if you de-risk by 10% on the loan, on both the principal or the interest. Yes.
Yeah, so just to add on that, you mentioned that this may be cumbersome and the companies may not necessarily be eligible to the facility, but through our pilots, the one we talked about, CYK, we learned that agri-SMEs, specifically women, do not keep records. Someone may think they're small.
That's a big one,
Someone may think they're small because they do not actually have financial records. You may think you're not able to make, say, $100,000 because you actually do not know how much you're making. So part of our business advisory, we want to change this. We want to actually ensure that these records are kept. From the records, we would now see how else to support you to make you investor ready. Yeah.
Where the leaders now, I'm looking at the other leaders, women leaders, etc., because Ugandans may do respect a lot their political leaders, for example. You will go and find in a particular district, you have about 40,000 leaders, elected leaders at all levels, from president to local councils, and these are there. Now at every stage you have a representative for women up to the district, up to where these leaders, are you working with them to help you mobilize the people, do all these things? Because we have, I think every district in this country has got a women group of sorts or something like that. I just want to know how Finding XY is actually collaborating and working with these other stakeholders to help you find the people, to help you marshal them, and to help you recruit the persons in these various districts where you are working.
Yeah, we usually refer to them as multipliers.
You call them multipliers?
Multipliers. Yes, so we do reach out to associations. Or, for example, like Uganda Management Association, you reach out to other associations like Women in Agriculture associations, and we ask them to further share the call for application. We also have invited them on particular occasions, like we had a webinar that just ended recently where they're part of the discussions. They get to listen in the challenges of women and how we are hoping that together we can come up with a solution to these challenges. So we've involved them in that way, sharing calls, applications with them, having calls with them and letting them know this is what we're intending to do and we need you to further this down your pipeline or your network.
What are some of the challenges that you've encountered so far in this quest?
So first of all,
because it can't be without challenges.
Yeah, most definitely. So usually it's a mindset issue.
Mindset.
Yes. So women in agriculture tend to shy away from debt financing for obvious reasons. Like I told you, if someone previously went to get a loan in the bank and failed, they don't want to go and try again. So regardless of whether you tell them, look here, I'm going to support you, come and we work together, let's try this again, they usually have reservations on whether or not they want to take that path. Then two, like I explained to you before, the SMEs, some SMEs are actually extremely conservative. If someone has set their mind to saying, I'm going to get financing in 2 years, 2 years it is, regardless of whether a good offer is on table or not. Yeah, so basically that's it for now.
And also we've learned before from our other programs that sometimes when you call them, we say, because we do the pre-investment bit where we train them, get them investor ready. They want to come and get the financing before they're even guided before how do you manage this financing, you know, and how do you get yourself ready to approach an investor, and they give you this financing.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those that are eligible and qualify, how long does it take them to get the finances?
So, well, we usually go through the normal investor timelines.
I don't know what that
Because,
is
like,
now.
yes, like I mentioned, we are not doing own lending. We'll take their documents, try to make them investor ready, and then introduce them to the financier or the investor that best suits their challenges. So if this is a debt financer, let's say a bank, they would still go through that same process that a bank typically takes.
How long will that be?
It depends, usually a month or two. Yeah, sometimes less if all the qualities are met, or if the whole criteria seems more agreeable to the bank. If it's an equity investor, of course, they'll have to go make company valuation, typically around the same time.
Okay. And you said this started in May this year? Okay. And so what are you working on between May and today, and then maybe the next 3 months? What are you working on? Just receiving applications?
So we are receiving them,
okay,
and then we get to call them and go and meet them at their places of work to do due diligence, you know, because it's one thing for you to apply and tell me, yes, I meet your criteria. It's another for me to get on ground and know, does this business actually exist? What are the challenges? And do a needs assessment even before you bring them to get them investor ready. So that's what we are doing during this period.
Have you been to any?
We are going to one after here, yeah, and we've had about 8 meetings with the enterprises that have at least expressed interest.
And how are they? Are you on the right trajectory? Or
yes, yes. The businesses actually look
promising?
great, very promising. That's why we have scheduled DD already. So we usually have a first engagement call to understand these businesses better, understand what their growth plans are, and understand how they work beyond the finances. So after us analyzing these, we schedule a DD to go and do a needs analysis on ground, and then try to position them for excellence. Yeah.
Okay. For those that you've interacted with, or those that have showed interest, what are they into specifically? What type of agriculture are they into? For those that have showed interest, and those that you've spoken to, what are they into? We
have some that are in coffee processing.
Okay.
We have others that are in poultry. We have others that are in
fishing.
We have ones that are adding value to pineapple, to make pineapple jam. So it's comprehensive. We have others that are making porridge, refining flour to make baby porridge. Yeah.
And these are all good businesses that you've encouraged?
Very good.
They're very good businesses. Okay, well, I'm just being told that the live in Kumi is also just underway, and just before we say the final bit of it, to remind the people that it's commemorating today the World Population Day 2022, and the theme is Mindset Change for Wealth Creation, Ending Child Marriages and Teenage Pregnancies. And of course, this is coming live from Kumi District, where we have our teams positioned. Michael Jordan Lokomo, of course, of the team just right there in Kumi, and we expect maybe it will be the Vice President, Major Richard Jessica Lupo, who will be officiating at this particular celebration for this particular year. But just before we cross over to Kumi, in a couple of minutes, we'll come back to studios and just give a wrap-up of what we have been talking about here for women in agriculture. And I will start with you, Priva Mokasa. Finally, look into the eye of the public and tell them, if you don't know one opportunity to speak to them about this particular facility, what is this thing that you would make sure that they actually understand?
I would like women to know that this facility is for them to unlock investment opportunities. And I would encourage them to apply to the facility, and you can do this by writing to us at info@findingxy.com. Again, info@findingxy.com. And don't be afraid to reach out and find out if your business meets the criteria. But I would encourage you to come and we unlock investment opportunities.
Say that again. Is it finding or funding?
Finding.
Finding XY. Okay.
info@findingxy.com.
Okay, thank you very much. Nabila Namboze, from you finally to the public.
Yes, so I would wish to re-echo what Privas just mentioned. We are calling upon women across the entire agricultural value chain to express interest in this facility. There are great opportunities for you. We are trying to unlock financing for you. We are trying to improve your businesses. Let us help you. It doesn't matter which stage of business you are at, because right now we are trying to build a community. So even if you think you do not qualify currently, kindly reach out to us, write to us at info@findingxy.com, and we'll surely respond.
Okay. No telephone number for ease or WhatsApp or something? Do they have just to find your email?
Yeah, for now, kindly write to us an email. Yeah.
Email info@findingxy.com. xy.com.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Nabila Namboze, the Chief Operations Officer from Finding XY, and thank you so much, Priva Mukasa, the Communications Officer from Finding XY. Now, the facility is there for you, women in agriculture, in the entire chain of agriculture. So please find ways of getting to them and tap into this facility. It's here for you to help you to build the community that we all want to see, and of course the community that we all want to belong to. So please reach them out on info@findingxy, and you will get xy.com. And you'll get all the detail. You'll get all the detail, you know, the viabilities, you know, the necessities, the credibility, anything that you would want to hear or know from them. Please just do that and find out from them. Thank you very much, and just let you know that anytime from now, we'll be now taking you to Kumi Boma Grounds in Kumi District, where we'll be celebrating this year's World Population Day. UBC TV is ready to bring this live to you. My name is Jagen Asemakola Ziksoka. Wishing all the best. We'll talk again tomorrow. For God and my country, shalom. Thank you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.